everyone, Joshua Myers here, and welcome back to my Star Wars franchise review series. Now, before we get started here, I would like to say that this is actually my second time actually filming this damn review, because the first time I tried, I thought I got everything in order in that, and I popped my SD card into the computer, and I popped my SD card into my laptop, and apparently the file had been corrupted in some form of way, and to the point where I can import it into Sony Vegas, so therefore I can render the video. Which, by the way, if you guys have been wondering why I've been editing my videos in this whole time, it's Sony Vegas. Sony Vegas Pro 15, actually. So I'm having to restart this whole video. So, first time that this ever happened to me, at least. I know it's happened more times to other people than that, so at least I'm getting off lucky, I guess, and knowing that this is the first time for everything. Speaking for first time for everything, so I did do another voice impression video that I wanted to get uploaded. I did uploaded it. It was for a Kylo Ren voice impression video, and it was attached to a certain scene from The Force Awakens and that, and I got I wouldn't know what you would call it, copyright strike or claim or whatever. It had a yellow triangle with a black exclamation point on it saying blocked worldwide. So even to the point where on my phone or on my smart TV I couldn't even see it on there at all. So I had to delete it. And I had to make two different versions. I'm making two more versions. The first one, the third version is just in case if the second one doesn't work out as far as uploading. So, and, stuff like this, because I've had a problem with Disney as a company for a long while now, especially as of late, with some of the films they come out with and that, I have not been a big fan of, and rewatching a lot of the classic Disney films and that made me even hate current Disney more. So I'm like, okay, so stuff like that, doesn't help with you making me not hate you guys at all. It really doesn't. If anything, it makes me hate you guys. If anything, it makes me hate current Disney even more. Now again, not to say Disney has came out with some really good stuff as of late. They have. Like I said, in my top 5 best movies of 2019, I put one of them in there, and that's Toy Story 4. I think that was a damn good movie. Probably for me, my second best movie of 2019, like I said. So, yeah, so Disney has come out with good stuff as of late, in recent years. But for the most part, not really. And also stuff with how they treat, YouTubers and other stuff like that, and other people like that, is really not making me and it's really not making me like them even more. Just thought I'd share that with you. So, I am going to try to re-upload that Kylo Ren voice impression video. I've re-edited 2 times now. Just in case if my second time uploading it doesn't work, then I got a third different video, a different version of said video to upload instead. And if that doesn't work out, then I guess we're just shit out of luck for that. With all that out of the way, today I'm going to be reviewing yet again, because, all the issues I had, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story from 2016.
We've a mission for you.
Ready? May the Force be with us.
Rated PG-13. Get your tickets now.
Rogue One, A Star Wars Story stars Felicity Jones, Diego Luna, Donnie Yang, Forrest Whitaker, and is directed by Gareth Edwards. The plot of Rogue One: A Star Wars Story is that in a time of conflict, a group of unlikely heroes band together on the mission to steal the plans for the Death Star, the Empire's ultimate weapon of destruction. What are my positives with Rogue One: A Star Wars Story? Honestly, for me, the pacing. I really did dug the pacing of this movie. This movie's about almost 2 hour long movie, and it does not feel like that. Also, I think the idea of basically telling the whole stealing the plans for the Death Star story and then before New Hope is kind of actually ingenious. You know, I guess you could say it's both ingenious and kind of lazy at the same time. But, you know, I think it's more ingenious. Well, I don't know necessarily. Yeah, but I still think it works. I still think it works as a prequel, and I think, honestly, this is probably one, like, my second favorite Star Wars prequel movie. Second. Also, I do like some of the characters, actually. I really dug K2SO, so I thought he was hilarious, actually. He was this Imperial droid who got reprogrammed. I also did like Donnie Ying's character as Chirrut Imwe. I really did like him. I did like his partner too, but I personally was more interested in Chirrut than, you know, his partner. And just the whole Guardians of the Will stuff actually is really interesting. Like, I would actually want to know more about him and, you know, all that stuff. Also, I did like Orson Krennic actually as an antagonist. I thought, I mean, especially when compared to somebody like Dryden Voss from Solo, I think Orson Krennic was a much better antagonist for a Star Wars spinoff movie. You know, the reasons for the stuff he's doing is kind of understandable in a lot of ways. Like, you know, he's been working, like, you can tell he's passionate about, you know, his work on the Death Star and everything. Even though you don't agree with what the Empire's doing, you gotta give cred to his passion in that, and for it, like, the character's passion and drive. And, you know, even when, and to the point where, when somebody like Tarkin comes in and tries to take away the project and, you know, basically, you know, take the credit away from him, you know, and basically say, "No, Krennic, I am now going to be working on this Death Star, and I'm going to take all the credit for you, like, from you, and you're not going to get a single bit of credit." You know, and it's like, yeah, you know, if you really think about it, you would be pissed off too, actually. You'd be super pissed at that, you know, especially working on something that you were passionate about for so many years, and to have any of your credibility just wiped out from under you just from one asshat. I did dug the effects in this, actually. Like, I really couldn't tell if a lot of this was computerized, like, you know, like CGI, or actual practical effects, like models and that. They, like, especially the spaceships and that, and all that stuff really did look like models, actually, more so. I did like the cinematography and the direction. This was meant to be like almost like a war movie style and that. And for a lot of the films, it's called Star Wars, but we never actually got to see a film that actually achieved the war aesthetic in that, and this was the first one to do so. And I think it did very well. I think it's like practically the Saving Private Ryan of the Star Wars franchise. The music is really good too, composed by Michael Giacchino, who also composed the music for Jurassic World and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I've noticed he's been composing a lot of music that normally John Williams would compose, and that makes sense because he's actually was a protege of John Williams, and you know what? He does a damn good job. Like, he's a good replacement for John Williams, and honestly, I could see him becoming the modern-day John Williams, actually. Oh, and another positive, it has probably the most badass Darth Vader scene in all of Star Wars. Like, one of the most badass Darth Vader scenes. Actually, it would probably be up there with the top 5 most badass Darth Vader moments. What are my negatives with Rogue One and Star Wars Story? Honestly, for me, a lot of it has to come with most of the main characters. None of them are quite that interesting. And that, like, other than a few, like I mentioned. And, you know, again, this is like, since this is a prequel, you kind of know what's going to happen to them, especially in a story like this. You know, they're all going to die. You know, because we don't see them later in the other movies, so... spoiler alert, but yeah, they all die. So it's not that big of a surprise. You're not that emotionally invested into it. I mean, these actors do a pretty good job in their roles for what they have to be given, but the characters aren't that interesting. Plus the fact that, again, you know what's going to happen. Knowing that some of the... Because they had to do... Because they decided to bring in Tarkin in this movie, as well as Princess Leia, young Princess Leia, and at this point, both actors passed away. Both of the original actors passed away, so they had to get body doubles and digitize their faces to look like the original actors from the original movie. And, you know, on Tarkin, I think it wasn't that bad, but on Leia, yeah, it's pretty bad. You could definitely tell that more so with Leia than Tarkin. And honestly, for me at this point, because I've seen what the actors, like, you know, actors they got to portray Tarkin and Leia in this movie without the digitized faces, I honestly would have preferred it if they didn't went with the digitized face for them. You know, if they wanted to make them look more like the original actors in that, maybe they could have done some makeup stuff in that, instead of that whole CGI suckfest on all over their faces. Also, while I said the pacing in this movie is really good, there's some points where it kind of starts to drag for me. So that's it. I'm going to give Rogue One: A Star Wars Story a 4 out of 5 stars. Honestly, I think it is decently good, actually. You know, there's some stuff that kind of drags along in that. You know, some stuff I didn't really care for. But honestly, for me, you know, if I had to pick out the spin-off movies, this and Solo Star Wars Story, I would much rather watch Rogue One over Solo Star Wars Story. You know, I think they did a lot more right with this movie than that film. So that's it for this review. Thank you guys for watching, and see you next time.